Our next award goes to the best unique theatrical experience of the 2023-2024 season. And when we say unique theatrical experience, we are not kidding around. This year's award for the best unique theatrical experience goes to Dungeons and Dragons. Designed, created, and produced improbably by which is a theme today, isn't it? By the incredibly nimble and imaginative team of David Carpenter, Sarah Davis Reynolds, and David Andrew Greener Laws, known as Daggle, who have created a live off-Broadway adaptation of the venerable fantasy interactive player tabletop game on the occasion of its 50th anniversary. So there's no longer any excuse for not knowing how to play Dungeons and Dragons or not knowing how to use the term non-player character, both in the context of the game and as an interesting kind of smart-ass metaphor. But anyway, this year, when we say unique theatrical experience, we do mean just that. You can join the raucous and happy, and as the evening progresses, tipsy crowd that goes nuts every night at the interactive evening of Dungeons and Dragons. And you can decide to go back with a friend, but you won't be seeing the same show. Like as the Buddha says about, we can't put our foot in the same river twice. That's, I think, also the message of Dungeons and Dragons. And because with Dungeons and Dragons, each night's performance is a unique theatrical experience. This is theater that's truly unique and interactive, and no one, including Sarah Davis Reynolds, who's a co-creator and plays the all-knowing tavern keeper. Even Sarah doesn't know what path the plot will take tonight or what the outcome of any significant face-off will be. That's determined by the toss of one enormous 20-sided die, or the audience joining in, or the audience voting via their phones using the Gamiatics app developed by Carpenter. Audience members jump in and join the show, and everyone is completely engaged in joyful play each night. So, Dungeons and Dragons is part of the transition of just going with it, that is off-Broadway, and doing the improbable. So if you're looking for a good time, get yourself over to Stage 42, where the best unique theatrical experience of the season plays on, and based on the audience reaction, it will be playing on for quite some time. In the meantime, please help me welcome, to accept their Off-Broadway Alliance Award, and to welcome them to the off-Broadway community, the winners of this season's unique theatrical experience, David Carpenter and Sarah Davis Reynolds. Okay, David. All right. Come here. Oh, really? Okay. I thought you would do that. Okay, there you are.
Thank you. Chair asked me to say a few words, but obviously, please do.
I'll close it.
We, just so we know, the full title of the show is Dungeons and Dragons: The 20-Sided Tavern. This originally started as just the 20-Sided Tavern about 3 years ago that we created. And the point of what we did, and we started with this, some showings in New York here and there, but we started in Pittsburgh and we went to Chicago with it, was that we wanted to create something that was for us, that was for our friends, that was for our audiences. I have the great fortune of being the producer of Puffs, if we remember Puffs, that ran in New York for about 3 years. And we started talking a lot about 3.5 years ago about producing something for a fandom instead of an audience, because a fandom can be an audience. And that's how this started and where it got born. And something this has been a very moving day today. Something that is so important to us and so amazing about receiving this award is that, as I've been working in New York theater for 25 years now, and Off-Broadway has always been a place about innovation, about accessibility, about risk, and about trying something new with audiences. And we had originally said that it was going to be a long time before we came into New York with the show, and it all happened way faster than we expected to, especially when we did the deal to get the Dungeons & Dragons IP. And what has happened has been so magical at the theater every night. And I'll tell a couple of stories of what's been happening in that audience. Is that I have friends who I've known for a very long time who work in our community, work on Broadway, who show up with their kids who are young, who are just starting to go to theater, and they're seeing stuff for the first time. And yes, this is a show that you have your phone out the whole time, which is just like when we were starting to tell people about this years ago, they were like, absolutely not. And we're like, well, we're gonna give it a shot. And they said, well, no one will pay attention to the show. And I'm like, no, that's not really how behavior works anymore. It's like if we're producing something that's fun and funny and entertaining, like the phone becomes a tool to be able to access the show and access the fun. And that's how we've always treated it. And my friends would say, I'm bringing my son a lot of times, sometimes my daughter, who's a big gamer, and they've never been at something where they felt seen before. And they feel that there is something that is out there for them. And for me, as a queer kid growing up in Atlanta, that's what theater was for me when I was a kid. And so the fact that we are able to do this off-Broadway and is something that has truly been a dream come true, in that we are what I believe to be part of what is the best and weirdest part of what this tradition is, of what Off-Broadway is, which is a place for risk. It is a place for new audiences. It is a place for people to come discover theater that they will have for the rest of their lives. And that's what we really set out to do, and that's what we're achieving. We love Off-Broadway. We strive to make this as accessible as possible. Even with the Dungeons & Dragons IP sitting over the title of our show, 20-Sided Tavern, we really tried so hard to make it something where you don't have to know anything about anything to come in and have the best time. And that is a big part of what Sarah and I really set off to do, was just to create that 2 hours of escapism where you end up learning something about something you didn't know before, right? And that was always the goal for us. I think the other thing for us on another level within this is that what we have also discovered, and we've known this actually since the beginning when we first started producing the play in our first out of town in Pittsburgh, was that audiences from the gaming community, from the D&D world, from the Comic-Con world, come into our theater and they feel safe. They feel that it is a place where they can be who they want to be, they be who they are, and it's a place where they want to be able to express themselves. And so I've always told people, and when we were shopping the show around, that at its best, the audience looks like the floor at Comic-Con, and is unlike anything that you'd see anywhere else in New York, and that's what we love about it. So I want to thank our co-producers, Susan Kidd, who's here tonight, Hunter Arnold, who couldn't be here today, John Paterakis, and
Tom Hiotis.
Tom Hiotis, thank you, who calls me all the time, which is why I couldn't get his name. We have a phenomenal management team, Shelby and Heather, who are here with us today, who've done an amazing job. Clint Bond Jr. has been doing our marketing. Leslie Pappas at Vivacity has been doing our press, and they've done a fantastic job at pulling the full spectrum for us. Weirdly enough, I'm going to thank the Schuberts, who let us do whatever we wanted at that theater, which is very unusual, but they have been really wonderful venue partners for us in terms of being able to deliver an experience the minute that you walk in the door. And then, of course, like our entire stage management team and our company of actors and performers who go on every night, and they literally put on a different show every single night. And it's a whole new experience every time they walk in the door. And they are working so hard and doing such a brilliant job at inviting people in and giving them the time of their life every night. So, and then thank you to the Off-Broadway Alliance for honoring us. I mean, we are definitely unique and definitely theatrical. So it was a good fit for us. But it truly is for an honor to us to be part of this and to be part of this community in this way. And it's everything I could have hoped for. So thank you all, Sarah.
And then I'm going to also thank all the designers that I forgot to mention. That does take an absolute army to build this show, and it is beautiful. If you've been to Stage 42, we got to redesign the lobby. It's great, y'all. So we have an incredible design team working on all of this and constantly maintaining it, because it is a new show every night in the world that we get to play in. I just want to say one tiny little thing, which is we have a line in the show, which is tomorrow's story is still unwritten, and you are its truest author. And as we gather here today to just sort of recognize and honor and celebrate the incredible work and people of yesterday and today, I want to just extend that to everyone in this room as well, that may we also just be so excited about what tomorrow holds for Off-Broadway and the work that we do in it. So, thank you.
Thank you.
David.